in the subsequent off-circle elections and discourage their participation in political and electoral processes. Hence, the need to explore areas where the Disability Commission can partner with INEC to ensure issues of persons with disabilities exclusion in the electoral process is addressed duly. This will be our focus today on the program. And once again, our guest is the head of women and gender from the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Mrs. Ogolo Patience Dixon. Now, this program is audience participatory. All right, the WhatsApp number to send your messages to is 0908 875 74996. Take that slowly. 0908 875 7496. We'll be calling out the phone line very shortly. Just to let you know that we are streaming on our social networks on Facebook at TAF Africa, on Instagram at TAF underscore Africa, and of course on Twitter at TAF underscore Africa. So we like to air this program via various platforms because we want you to participate, all right? So if you can't get us via the telephone, ensure you send a message on WhatsApp to the number 0908 875 7496, or better still, leave a message for us in the comment section on our social media handles on Facebook at TAF Africa. All right. So let's just go over to our guests and get to ask her one very important question for today's program. Once again, ma, thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much.
Now, what is the core mandate of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities?
Yeah, the National Commission for Persons with Disability, as we all know, came into being as provided by the law under the Discrimination Against Persons Prohibition Act that was signed into law in 2018 to be precise. And with the mandate of promoting, projecting issues of persons with disability in the positive light. I think that is just more less like it, so that we know that issues of persons with disability have been there for quite a while. A lot of things are associated with it. Negative mindsets, stereotypes, myths, and various kinds of barriers that the community goes through. But we are happy that the commission is here to stay and is a commission mandated for promoting and spotlighting issues of persons with disabilities.
Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, it's disability inclusion, and we are talking about the 2023 general election and disability inclusion. All right, now we're getting to hear from the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. So we are going to take our news update. When we come back, I would like you to call any of these numbers: 0705 149 3324. 0705 149 3324 or 0915 Let's get to talk about the 2023 general election and disability inclusion. My name is still Jennifer Ogo on the program Disability Inclusion. Stay with us as we come up with our news updates. Always a pleasure, Jemima Paul. Thank you so much. It's Disability Inclusion on the Network Service of Radio Nigeria, and we're still in our interview session with the head of women and gender from the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. Well, she's here to talk about the 2023 general elections and disability inclusion. Now, ma'am, what's your assessment of the general election as it affects the participation of persons with disabilities throughout the electoral cycle?
Yeah, 2023 general election. Um, I think it's a little bit better than the way it was
Okay.
in the past. I'm speaking generally and also from a personal experience as well. I always say just my own personal experience. I I beg your pardon. I voted last in 1999 before
Okay.
2023, and people will ask
Wow.
me why. Because I was in a polling unit and boom, there was violence. And it was so difficult for me, a woman on a wheelchair. And since then, I vowed never to come out for election. But
Wow.
in 2023, I did. That was because there was a lot of awareness, and we were actually made, or we were actually told, the importance of you coming out to vote. And
Okay, was that what convinced you?
that was what actually convinced me,
Mm.
because as a staff of the National Commission for Persons with Disability, we came to a point where we concluded that without your voice there, your decision will never be a
Okay,
part of
please,
it.
ma. Sorry, since please, I forgot to mention, Mrs. Ogolo Patient Dixon is actually a person with physical disability,
Yes.
so she's right here. So she's speaking from, a personal point of view. So go ahead, please, ma'am.
Yes. Just to also say that, in continuation of what I was saying, we were actually made to understand that your decision is your voice, and your voice is going out to vote.
Mm.
And if you are not a part of the process, you will be left behind. So that's made us to be strong, and we just damned off consequences. So anything that happened, let it happen.
Mm.
So we want to also have a voice, and we want to be a part of decision making, because for us to advance our issues, we need to be on that decision making table. So that prompted most of us to really come out during the 2023 election. So many people came out, so many persons with disability came out, but
There's still some
I
loopholes.
tell you,
It
my
can never be a
sister,
smooth process.
it can never be.
Now, out of curiosity, were you among the ad hoc staff?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, you weren't. Okay, but you voted.
I voted,
So can you
yes.
just analyze that day, what transpired? I'm sure there were other persons with disabilities at your polling unit. The INEC staff, they arrive on time. Just basically just brief us what happened.
Yeah, I think in my own polling unit, interestingly,
Mm.
was a very small polling unit, because my original polling unit was actually, we were separated. I didn't even know until a few days before. And so they now said, okay, because I did something like transfer from my former previous polling unit to, so, and interestingly, we were just about 10 of us in that polling unit.
Okay.
And luckily or unluckily for me, I was the only person with disability there. So, but I was treated very nicely, and they accorded me all the special attention that I needed, and I was not left behind, because everything was accessible, because it was on a level playing floor, and I just went in, did what I wanted to do, and I stayed behind for a while. But I think we also had at the commission a situation room that we had to monitor the progress and how persons with disability were also exercising their franchise, and also then I think we also came across some challenges as well, coupled with that. So maybe it wasn't so rosy for many people as it was for me.
Okay, we are giving priority voting.
Yes, because immediately I came, they just, okay, person with disability, please come. And in fact, they took special care. And the only thing I couldn't find, because I was very curious, I am a staff of the commission, so I had to ask a lot of questions. Where is the braille ballot and all those? And they were not there.
Okay, that would actually be it will be my next question to you. But if you're listening to us, kindly call 0705 149 3324 or 0915091048 to really like you to lend your voice to the discussion on today's program. All right, you can watch us live on our social networks on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TAF_Africa. We're talking about the 2023 general election and disability inclusion. We have the head of women and gender from the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. Now, what was the level of INEX compliance with the deployment? I mean, you started the conversation already of assistive tools in polling units with registered PWDs as contained in the Electoral Act.
Interestingly, in my polling units, the INEC staff, the adult staff, they were familiar with those. Yes, in fact, immediately I mentioned that, they say yes, they started to search for them, but unfortunately they couldn't find them. And they say, okay, we were not given. So I now say, but if I was a blind person, how would I say no? That we would have still be able to move around, and then you'll be able to vote. So, but for me, I think that is not good enough, because we were actually promised that during the election we'll have all of these. some people said their police station they had them, but it was not in many police stations.
As
From
promised
yes,
from
as
INEC.
promised from INEC. So I'm hoping that in future that we won't have that kind of situation again, because we should have a situation where everybody is able to actually vote without no help. I am one person that doesn't like anything. Oh, I want to help you. I want to do it myself, just
Yeah.
like every other person, because it makes me human, and it also makes me to be more dignified, like a citizen.
Yeah.
So I think we're actually hoping for a better future for persons with disability.
Okay, so what kind of intervention did the Disability Commission undertake before the election to encourage the participation of PWDs in electoral process? I know you gave us a brief of your own personal experience, but I would like you to really as in talk more about this.
Yeah, like I said the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities is a commission that is mandated to promote
Mm.
and also to spotlight issues of persons with disabilities. So one way has always been to create awareness and to sensitize the community uh, about what they are supposed to do. So, and then the mandate, according to the Discrimination Against Persons with Prohibition Act, you know that we have to have an enabling environment to exercise our rights, our civic rights, without any form of discrimination. So that way, like I said, it's we were all told in the community of persons with disability, you have to go out to vote. You have to be a part of the political process. You have to belong to a political party. So people were actually made or asked to actually go out and exercise their franchise, create that awareness, create that enabling environment, and then we also had to come up with that situation room to also monitor. And another thing is to engage with other organizations of persons with disability, especially those that are already doing this kind of work in the electoral process, like South Africa, like Inclusive Friends that have been working in the area of political process, and so that we also understand and also push for what we are all supposed to do collectively. That is also to encourage the community again to create that awareness. What is the electoral process is all about? Let me just also say that community of persons with disability, lots of them are not really educated, especially
How do
those.
we counter that problem?
Ah, it's a huge problem
Mm.
actually, because a lot of them are not educated, and so a lot of them are ignorant of what is happening. It's,
Of even their rights,
yeah,
first of all.
education, information, awareness raising, sensitizations. These are combinations of so many things. But the issue is that how do we now bring it to their doorsteps? Because these are communities that have issues with barriers. Okay, many are not able to speak, many cannot see, many have movement issues and all that. So we have to take it to them wherever they are. And then also having to look at it, how do we now take it to them? We have to break it down in the way they will understand, doing it in their local languages, doing it in a way that people understand it in the villages, in the rural areas, in the community, and all those kind of things. And also to also engage with agencies that are also into awareness raising, for example, like the National Orientation Commission, so that we can have a kind of wide coverage and also come with modalities of to get these things to their doorsteps. And then also look at the special needs of the people we are talking about. So how can we now begin to factor their special needs into the process? For example, the process, does this accommodate sign language interpretation? Does this also accommodate braille? These are the kind of things that this community needs. Is it part of the process? That is why I said that when we were in the field during the election, we were curious to know if these special needs were actually part of the process, because this is the only way that will make persons with disability to fully participate.
07051493324 or 0915091048. We're talking about the 2023 general election and disability inclusion. Do watch us live on our social media platforms at TAF_Africa on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, ma'am, some of the complaints that actually, came to our table, and some of the things we saw, we observed, especially persons with disabilities, adult staff now during the elections. They talked about time management, lack of time management from the INEC staff. Because as a person with disability, you come into a polling unit, registration, you're supposed to start at 8, for instance, and not until 12 before you begin to see the INEC staff probably walking into the polling units. Some of all these challenges can actually affect the level of participation of persons with disability. So we had such kind of complaints. Others were like untrained staff, that didn't really know how to use the assistive tools or even educate the electorate, persons with disabilities now, to vote. And security was one of. So how do we counter these challenges, time management especially, and security, and what can INEC do to smoothing better election process in the forthcoming of secret elections?
I think issues like this most of the time is bound to happen. It's just that we are just hoping that it will reduce as time goes on. This time management was a huge problem, not only for persons with disability, for everybody. You could hear people say, okay, I've been here from 8 o'clock, and we couldn't even leave till 5. Some even were there till the following day. So it was something else actually. And then just imagine that person is a person with disability,
or even a person without wings, for instance, because it's sunny at that time from probably 10 to maybe 2 p.m.
Exactly.
It's quite sunny, so
very, very.
having to wait, and of course, as a person with disability, you're not supposed to expose your skin to sunlight. So how should INEC do better? What should they learn? How can they really put persons with disabilities and the issues they face now at the front burner, and make sure that these challenges don't, occur again?
Yeah. I before I go, I answer that. I just wanted to say that time is something that we have to take very seriously, because before people always plan. They plan for their lives, they plan for their time. Is very key. That okay, I'm going to do something, and within it's expected that within 1-2 hours I would have been done, and so I will go somewhere else and all that. But to sprout the day for just something that would not supposed to even take you up to like 10-15 minutes is something else. And then just to say that what can INEC do? I think for us as a community of persons with disability, I know that the Discrimination Against Persons Prohibition Act also talked about the creating an enabling environment for persons with disability to fully participate in the electoral process. And I also know that INEC also have a framework that also speak to the issues of persons with disability in election. And then also we also have the Electoral Act as well that also have some areas provided for persons with disabilities. So I think they should look at all of this framework and then begin to see how they marry them together to the advancement of the community. So how do you now bring this community, a special community, not just like every other person? Because if you want this community to fully be a part of the process, you need to factor their needs into the process. If the needs are not in the process, they will not participate. In fact, it will be better. I am a part of this community, so it will be better for me to stay in my house to come and participate. But it will be very good as a citizen for us to all participate. So first thing first is thank God they have a framework. Thank God the Electoral Act has also provided for that. And then the disability community also have a disability law that speaks positively about issues of persons with disability in all entirety. So that is a good entry point to start. That yes, we need to advance this community and we need them to also participate in the process. And so let us also look at these policies and how to further implement, not just having a policy, it is implementing the policy that matters.
Involving persons with disabilities is the only way meaningful change can occur. That's on period, all right? So it's 7:30 and it's still disability inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Kindly join our cause by calling the number 0705 or 0915 0910482. Disability inclusion, get involved. Let's ask questions. Let's throw in suggestions, about issues that concerns persons with disabilities. All right, these issues cannot be overflowed. My name is still Jennifer Ogo on the program Disability Inclusion, coming to you live from the network service of Radio Nigeria. Stay with us.
So Jennifer, there's a funny WhatsApp message.
Hmm?
There is a funny WhatsApp message.
Sorry, please, where is it?
A funny one.
Can I read it?
But it's
Let
Those,
me edit.
those who have been listening to us, they won't have problem getting the number.
Okay, so
Slow
I
down.
should slow down on
Yeah.
it. We even have a WhatsApp message.
No,
No,
before you
you
read the
can't even
message,
read it.
call it again. This time around, slowly.
Is it the numbers now?
The numbers you're calling.
Okay.
That you ask them to call.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. How funny is that? I don't
This
understand.
is appreciate
By Two-Face.
Two-Face.
Okay, thank you.
Are you hearing the song? Ma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So read the message, then you lash, you give me the
Guest
phone.
speaker, please help me to read.
Okay, the message is actually for you, ma.
God, no. But you can actually read it, and I don't know. I just don't want to diss the person. Like, well, it's unimportant actually. It doesn't concern
Or you
what
want to
we're
just
talking
you want
about.
to read it?
No, no need.
Guest speaker, please let me feed my family.
Appeared by Two-Face on program Disability Inclusion, the only kind of disability is refuse to see any human potential in anybody, and that includes persons with disabilities. So they have vast potentials that the society needs to tap into. So get involved and let's join in this movement together. Disability inclusion is what we are all about on the program, and my name is Jennifer Owo on the program. The numbers to call are 0705 149 3324 or 0915 091 0482. We have the head of gender and women and gender from the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Mrs. Okolo Patient Dixon. Thank you, Ma'am. Just to let you know also that she is a person with physical disability. So, what interventions should be made to rebuild the confidence of the disability community in the electoral process? Because out of all these very few issues I've mentioned now, I didn't get to face those challenges on that day of the election, but they did, and it brought it to us. So having experienced this, it has a way of really bringing down your morale, just like the example you gave that you've not voted.
Yeah.
2023 was the first time you voted
Yeah.
since 1995. Yeah, so that's quite a long time. So
Yeah.
what interventions now should be made to rebuild the confidence of the disability community in the electoral process?
I think it's pretty simple because, like I said, we have framework. I think the most important thing now is for us to begin to implement them. Um, we can't have policies without implementation. It's only when you implement that you begin to identify the gaps.
Okay, now you've really implementation, and honestly, I'm on this phase with you. Enough of the talking. I remember when we began this program, and having these assistive tools during the electoral process was like a broken record, and now we are here, and we are quite impressed, but we are saying it's not enough.
Yeah.
So how can the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities really work with other sectors, especially the government, institutions now, to make sure that the implementation process is really reinforced, and especially for persons with disabilities implementation?
Yeah. I One of the mandates is for there to be a kind of interagency connection, and that is the commission is an agency of the government, and there are other agencies of the government. It can make a wider impact if all the agencies also have a kind of connection that also includes persons with disability. So what that means is that let us all talk the same talk. Let us all walk the same walk. Unfortunately, we are still in an era where mindset is still speaking, and the negative mindset that has always been there from generation to generation against persons with disability. And this mindset followed us from our community where we are to even the making table. So when you are putting up policies, you are putting up implementation. The mindset that came from the community is speaking. And so that is what you are putting down. So it's only few agencies that still have this passion, okay, for advancements or understand the issues of persons with disability that will take it up. Not everyone. So, but we need a situation whereby we have a collective. Because it is when we have a collective that we can advance the issues together. So that is why it is very important that together we can do more. Because if we don't work together to also advance this community of over 30 million people with disability in Nigeria, that is not a small number. It's a big number. In fact, it's many countries of the world that is outnumbered many of the countries. So it's a large number. So we need to do a lot to ensure that we advance this community. If not, it will be difficult for Nigeria to achieve the 2023 SDG goals.
Honestly, and we just hope that we are way past that. Now, a tree cannot make a forest, like you've actually said. And you talked about the mindset, the stigmatization and stereotypical mindset of, that comes from the culture, the society, our community. This is one out of many other challenges. What kind of collaboration would the Disability Commission need, probably with organizations like INET, to address the loopholes that we have in terms of discrimination against persons with disabilities?
Yeah, the Discrimination Against Persons Prohibition Act that brought the commission into being Is one. Yeah.
Sorry, we have our first caller. Hello, good evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Oyinike, for joining us today. Mm. Thank you so much, sir. 705-149-3324 or 0915-091-0482. He actually made a vital point, and I know you've been talking about the Disability Acts that was signed in 2018. Now, National Commission for Persons with Disability, we know it's an organization, and you can't do this alone, but a discrimination is a discrimination, and people need to set it. People need, like, we need scapegoats. Like, we need to set an example for perpetrators, of the acts, or perpetrators of these acts. Now, where can the National Commission for Persons with Disability come in terms of serving penalties and serving sanctions to people who go against the law, knowing that ignorance is not an excuse? And how can this serve as a medium now to educate other Nigerians that a person with disability have human rights? They have fundamental rights that need to be upheld, and it's in the constitution. What role can the National Commission for Persons with Disability play? How can they actually help to implement these acts?
In the commission, we have the Compliance and Enforcement Department. Um, as you know, the law has given us 5 years for us to make all the arrangement, the modifications, and all that we need to do before the enforcement can begin. So now we are still in the years of grace.
Mm.
So it's going to end, I think, next year. 5 years will elapse next year. Then after that's 5 years, then we begin to just go,
Stringent
yes.
actions.
But now we are still enjoying the time
And
of grace.
creating the awareness,
Yes,
the
the
sensitization.
sensitization, the awareness, do the right thing and all that. But after the 5 years, then we can now start to do what we are supposed to do.
Thank you so much. All right, the program is still Disability Inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. And we'll go on another quick break. When we come back, the program continues. Stay with us. It's still disability inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We still have our guests in the studio, the head of women and from National Commission for Persons with Disability, Mrs. Ogolo Patience Dixon, and she's here to talk about the 2023 general elections and disability inclusion. We still hope to get more calls from you, but let's hear from her now, ma'am. What role is expected from the community of persons with disabilities to ensure a disability inclusive electoral process in Nigeria? What role can they play?
Persons with disability are citizens of Nigeria, so they have a role to play. That is, you have to come out. You have to be a part of political process. You have to be a part of electoral process. You have to, um, from the beginning, I am a person with disability, but I also believe that we need to do the right thing. And the right thing is you try to aspire high. And aspiring high means you have to start from the process. So you have to know what the electoral act is all about. You have to follow the process. You have to tell your fellow brothers and sisters who have a disability to also be educated on what it takes and what you need to know about the election, how to come out. You have to have education. You have to
Get involved.
be involved, exactly. And then you have to have a community of practice, okay, for us to actually have, be a part of that. And one thing is that we have gone past the age where we feel that, oh, persons with disability are supposed to be at home. No, that time has gone. We cannot just be at home because if we want to be a part of governance.
Hello, we have a caller. Sorry. Hello, good evening. Who do we have on the line and what's your location? Thanks for joining us, Joseph.
Instead.
Stringent. Hmm. Mm. Mm.
Mm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joseph Daniel. All right. I would also like to encourage you to spread the message as well because, like I said, not many people are even aware of these acts. And according to the law, ignorance is not an excuse. So, in your little space, ensure that you enlighten people that hey, there is a disability act, and guess what? If you violate the law, this is what these are the consequences, and this is what you're going to face.
Yeah.
Now, ma'am, um, is there an effective feedback? In fact, I would like to also mention that there is an app called TAF Election Observer app. If you've not downloaded that app, ensure you do so. If you're using Android, you can go to Play Store and download the app. If you're using iPhone, iOS, you can go and download the app. Now, the essence of this app is to actually monitor and observe, the participation of persons with disabilities during the electoral process, during election, or just report. Go to the app. It will just put you through all you're supposed to do. Right? Maybe in our subsequent edition, we actually talk more about this app from our IT expert. Now, let's um, move over to Mrs. Dixon. Now, is there an effective feedback and monitoring mechanism, just like the example I gave, the app, for example, maybe there might be other mechanisms developed by the commission, public public service leave, just like our last scholar Joseph Daniel. I'm sure he has instances of when or where persons with disabilities were being discriminated upon or in quote now treated as second class citizens, of which they are not. Instances like this, do you have a mechanism or a feedback system where persons with disability can come and report a case and it's being followed up duly, and their rights are being you know enjoyed?
Yeah, I, I want to say that that is a huge problem for all of us, inability to actually um, create enough awareness about
Okay.
what we have and all that around the Discrimination Act. Yes, we have a feedback mechanism in the Commission. We have a reporting, yeah, we have a reporting app that we use around
What is
discrimination.
it called?
It's called Commission. Uh, it's just a reporting discrimination app.
Okay, but when
Um,
when we get to the website,
yes, you
NCPW
can go. Yes,
website, you can
yes.
access it.
ncpw.org.ng,
Okay then.
.gov.ng.
They
Yes,
take you through where
it
the
will
app.
take you to where the app is. It's a
Okay.
reporting app that
Okay.
reports discrimination, violence against persons with disabilities, and all others that we need to. So when you go there, in fact, you also go through it, and then you also have a way of knowing what it's all about,
Okay.
how to use the app for persons with who have hear, hearing difficulties. You have sign language there, interpreter interpreting to tell you this is how to use the app and all that. So uh, it's there. Like I said, there's always of creating awareness. So, but the awareness is being created that is not widely done. It's coming up gradually, and then we are hoping that in the nearest future that everybody would have. So, on our own, we have started to create that awareness. It's that it's not wide enough. That's why I said at the point I said it would be very good for us to have this kind of interagency connection, so that when so many
To
people,
grow faster.
yes, you could go fast and people begin to. But when issues of persons with disabilities left for only the commission, it will have a little impact instead of going. So there are a lot of things that we are, as you also know, the commission is just about 3-4 years old, so it's still new. So we are just trying to come off the foundation and also as much as we could.
Thank you. I must actually commend the commission. Like, you people have actually done quite a lot. Thank you so much. Since the it was actually birthed now the Commission for Persons with Disability. Thank you so much. So we're actually gradually running out of time, and I would like to tell you what the act says about employment. I don't know if you have any last words, ma'am. Thank you. All right. So, according to 28 subsection 1 of the 2018 Disability Act, a person with disability has the right to work on an equal basis with others, and this includes the right to the opportunity to gain a living um, by work freely chosen accepting to the labor market and work environment that is open. A person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to nominal damages of a minimum of 250,000 naira payable to the affected person with disability. So, where a company contravenes this subsection, the company commits an offense and is liable to damages of a minimum of 500,000 naira payable to the affected person with disability. Any principal officer of the company involved in violation is liable to 50,000 naira damages payable to the affected person with disability. Enough said. So, thank you so much for staying tuned on the program Disability Inclusion. And this is where we get to announce our star of the week. And star of the week is Blessing Mary Ochiedo. Stay with us. Hmm?
It is coming, but we're rounding off.
Okay.
We can't take any other call.
Okay, no problem. How do
So
I
as soon as you come back, just round off.
round off? Okay. That's the problem. Disability Inclusion Network Service of Radio Nigeria, and this is where we wrap up today's edition of Disabilities of Radio Nigeria. For more information on the activities of TAF Africa, visit our website at www.tafafrica.co. Send a message to 0703 110 or 0701 Special appreciation to our guest, the head of women and gender from the National Commission of Persons with Disability, Mrs. Opolo Patience Dixon. The engineer on the T is Umwe and studio manager is Ben Joseph. This program is brought to you by TAF Africa and funded by the Union through its support to democratic governance in Nigeria. Many thanks to the producer Stephen Esabo. Until next time, I still remain Jennifer Ogo. Urging you to have a splendid weekend. The next program is Youth Connect. Do stay with us.